Guys, Will here with W.T.F car reviews, and today we're reviewing the all-new 2024 Honda Civic Touring 1.5 Turbo.
And a big thanks to Sam and Joe at Ocean Honda in Port Richey, Florida for helping make this review possible. I'll leave a link to their inventory below, and if you're looking for a new car, SUV, or truck in the Port Richey, Tampa, Clearwater area, I would definitely recommend checking these guys out. And as for Sam or Joe.
And for those of you guys who don't know, the Civic started off as Honda's subcompact car in 1972. Moving up to a compact platform in 2000, part of the 7th generation, and sticking with it through the 11th generation that you see here, available since 2022. For 2024, the Civic is available either in a sedan or a hatchback, and outside of the performance-oriented SI and Type R, the 2024 Civic is available in 8 trims and 2 power plants, starting with a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder that we reviewed countless times in this channel, cranking out 158 horsepower, 138 pound-feet of torque. In the top trims, get this upgraded 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder we have here, cranking out 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque, ranging from the base $24,000 LX all the way up to the top $31,000 Sport Touring hatchback. Here we have the Touring sedan sitting right beneath the Sport Touring hatchback at $30,000. What else we get for that money? Let's jump right in. So we get full LED headlamps, LED daytime running light, and LED fog light down below. Side front parking sensing too. Panel that houses your advanced safety features built into the Honda badge, and 2 additional front parking sensors for the top part of the grille area. This platinum white metallic paint color is also an additional $455. With this black contrasted trim, I think it looks absolutely killer. The wheel and tire setup, we also get these upgraded 18-inch rims. They're gunmetal gray with black contrast, and they're wrapped in Goodyear Eagle Sport all-season tires. Dimensions being a pretty beefy 235/40 R18. It's only available in front-wheel drive, and with this upgraded turbo trim, we'll see if these 235 wide Goodyear tires enough to put this 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque, turbocharged 1.5-liter to the ground. We know it's pretty good with the SI, but the SI does have a more performance-oriented suspension. It also makes a tiny little bit more power, but we'll check that out during the test drive part of this review. We get a 2-tone contrasted mirror with an LED turn signal on it. Blind spot monitoring is on the glass as opposed to the inside part of the mirror that we see with a lot of new Honda cars. Smart access for the driver and the front passenger, black trim for the bottom part of the window trim, blacked out B and C pillar, a little bit of shiny chrome up top. Sunroof too. Shark fin style antenna. We can take a quick look at this window sticker, see any features that I'll potentially miss for this 2024 Civic 1.5-liter turbo 4-door Touring. With the platinum white pearl metallic exterior, black interior, $30,550 for the base price. You guys can pause, take a look at all of the standard features. It's of course a top Touring trim, so it's coming loaded. $455 for the paint color, $1095 for the destination handling charge, totaling us out at $32,100. Excellent fuel economy, 34 in the city, or 34 combined, 31 in the city, 38 on the highway. The gas cap is a push to open with easy fill. Honda says anything above 87 is acceptable for this 1.5-liter turbo, but if you're an old school guy and believe that turbos belong with premium fuel, throw in premium fuel. Outside of an extra couple bucks down the drain, nothing is going to get really affected. Side profile, hopefully you can pick it up. Compared to like a previous generation Accord, I see a lot of inspiration here on the Civic. And because of that, with this 1.5-liter turbo, after our test drive, we'll decide if the new Accord is even worth it, because you can save a few $1,000 and just go with the Civic with this power plant and have just about as nice of an interior. We have the same rear wheel and tire setup, nice clean look, low to the ground, low profile tires that still keep the ride quality nice and plush. Out rear, we get halogen turn signals and reverse light, but an LED strip up top. Chrome Civic badge, Honda Touring all chrome. Shout out Ocean Honda in Port Richey, Florida for helping make this review possible. Full rear parking sensing, and we get dual exhaust tips here with this turbocharged 1.5-liter. And speaking of dual exhaust, let's fire it up and hear how she sounds. Alright guys, that was the sound of the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder sold by Honda for the 2024 Civic Touring. And it sounds okay, cranking out 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque. Made it to a CVT transmission. You can expect this compact sedan to get the 60 in the low to mid 7-second range, making it a no-joke performer compared to the competition and eliminating about 1.5 seconds of 0 to 60 time compared to the 2-liter naturally aspirated power plant. What you see is basically what we get. Very similar overall setup compared to a Civic Si. The big difference, of course, being the CVT transmission, not getting the 91 plus octane recommendation for the fuel, which lowers the tuning and lowers the overall output by about 20 horsepower. And the CVT slows the shifts down a little bit too, which results in a 0 to 60 time about 0.5 seconds to a second slower. But the overall torquey feel of this power plant is going to be about the same as the Si, and you don't have to shift your own gears, which is probably exactly what a lot of the market is looking for, without having to go all the way up to an Acura Integra, which will cost $5,000 to $10,000 more. As far as the interior here, speaking of the Integra, let's see what we get with a base price around $30,550. Throwing the lights back to auto so the car's not yelling at me. Up top, we get soft touch material, a little bit of piano black aluminum door handle lock and unlock, trunk release, some faux carbon surrounding the window controls. We get auto one touch up front, gushy soft leather armrest, and more leatherette trim for the center. The storage is solid. You'll squeeze a foot long in there, and a 24-ounce water bottle. 12-speaker Bose premium audio with a subwoofer, and it sounds awesome. No nameplate stepping inside. The seats are really well bolstered, perforated in the center, extremely well bolstered for the bottom portion. Fully adjustable, you can recline, drop, lift, and slide the front seats. And taking a step inside, we can really check it out. So foot on the brake, engine start, stop, and everything fires right to life. But first thing we noticed is the steering wheel. It's basically the exact same thing out of the Civic Si. This interior is basically just a more premium version of a Civic Si. We get a little bit different contrast stitching, but the same wheel. It's thick, solid 10 and 2, great 9 and 3. The horn area is hard plastic with good graining. The horn itself, not very loud or aggressive. We'll do a window check. It's single pane windows, but they're pretty thick. And the horn, although it's not aggressive, I'm sure it's loud enough to get people out of your way. We get our volume and skip controls on the left side, voice commands, and the adjustments for this infotainment system. At least for the left side, this is our overall display. Tachos about 6,500 RPM, audio, customization, apps, Bluetooth, USB, Sirius XM, AM, FM, phone, back, and right back to where we started. Cool. My personal favorite would be to look at the tach, so we will leave it there. On the right side, we have our adaptive cruise control with lane keep assist, or lane centering assist, whatever you like to call it. Active steering, I usually call it. And the adjustments for the right side: infotainment, no content, custom display, safety support, maintenance, seat belts, driver information, navigation turn by turn, average speed, trip A, fuel range, average fuel. That's probably my personal favorite, to leave it at all times just to see how much fuel exactly is left. With a speedometer that goes to 160 miles per hour, digital speedo in the center, fuel level on the right side, coolant temperature on the left. It's about a 10.5-inch digital gauge display and a 9-inch touchscreen. Speaking of touchscreen, it has pretty good response, and I like the hard buttons on the side, so it's not all adjusted through the touch. We get all apps, navigation, phone, FM, see everything else that we have available, vehicle settings, system updates, and the adjustments for the display. We have our trip computer. We can check it out real quick. Range, average fuel economy, trip A and trip B. Navigation is probably my personal favorite to leave at all times, so let's check it out. So pretty decent resolution. It's a little bit on the old school side of things. The response is also a little bit on the old school side of things, but once it loads up, the response, as you see, just about excellent, almost like an iPhone. We can go right back to the navigation screen. It's my personal favorite to leave at all times. We'll leave it in the navigation screen. It's my personal favorite to look at all times. The stocks, really satisfying click, auto headlamps, auto high beams, and fog lights right to the right. Auto rain sensing wipers too. That's an appreciated feature. The Passport Trail Sport that we just reviewed in this channel, which had a base price around $45K, didn't have auto rain sensing wipers, so seeing it here, definitely a thumbs up. Tilt and telescoping steering wheel, interior brightness, you can turn off the parking sensors, traction control, and the 360 sense. I mentioned the trunk release in the corner, hood latch release. Hopefully you get a good look at the pedals. The dashboard is all soft touch material. We mentioned a 9-inch touchscreen beneath it. We got these really cool style air vents. It's been introduced since 2022 for the Civic. We see it now on the CR-V and the HR-V, as well as the Accord in certain regards. Beneath that, we have our dual zone automatic climate control, heated seats, recirculation, and vent controls. Down below, 2 USB-A ports, no USB-Cs, at least not out front. We have a wireless charging pad too, 12 volt. The center area, get these two massive cup holders. You'll fit 24-ounce bottles, no problem. Gear selector controls a CVT transmission. The backup camera, not the best resolution, but it's solid. We get guidance lines and trajectory, and 3 adjustments for the screen. A little bit of a narrower view and an over-the-top view. The button to turn some of these stuff off, and you have like a parking sensor view to the right of it with the adjustments for the brightness and the display itself. Cool. My personal favorite would be this old school view. It's like a little bit of a fisheye, but it shows you everything in the general vicinity. Throwing right back into park, behind it we have our drive mode selector. The drive modes include sport, normal, and econ mode. We'll start the review off in normal, transition to sport, maybe check out econ too, and just see what changes up. Sport's gonna stiffen up the steering slightly and make the throttle a little bit more sensitive. Normal is gonna do the exact opposite, and econ is just gonna affect the sensitivity of the throttle, make it as least sensitive as possible. We have our auto engine start stop. You can turn that off for the purpose of this review. Electronic parking brake with brake hold. The armrest is actually gushy soft, one of the softer armrests in the business with white contrast stitching. Storage space is also impressive. You're gonna fit 3 or 4 1-liter bottles of soda in there. You'll fit 8 12-ounce bottles. It is very solid for a compact sedan. You can fit some business cards or coins in this top tray. Console, pull this latch. It is damp, not lined with felt, wouldn't be expected, but it's large, also large for a compact. Sorry about that glare, guys. Hopefully that cleared some of this up. But you'll fit probably 20 to 25 license plates. Maybe you'll squeeze 2 pairs of shoes if you're under a size 10. Frameless auto-dimming rear view mirror with 3 garage home link settings on it. The interior lights are LED. You can turn off or on all of the rear lights. Sunroof opens up with the shade. The shade also opens up manually. We'll see if it goes out any further. It does not, but just about to the end of the front row, we can poke our way out of here. Not the nicest day in Port Richey, Florida, but it's good enough for mid-January, cloudy and 61 degrees. We can shut this roof right up. We'll leave the shade open so when we hop out back, you can see how much light is brought into the cabin. Sunglass holder, and that's about it for the front seat of this 2024 Honda Civic 1.5 Turbo Touring. Let's hop out back, see how much space is offered back there, as well as the overall quality of the materials. So up top, out rear, we get hard plastic. It's been a continuation throughout most of Honda's lineup. Honda's been doing such a great job with their interiors and exteriors and vehicles in general. They got to give the consumers at least some type of reason to pay a little bit extra for an Acura. But underneath this top portion, it's all top-notch premium, piano black, some leatherette trim for the middle, and a gushy soft leather armrest. 2 speakers on the door panel for the 12-speaker Bose. The rear seats, the padding doesn't go out to the door frame, but they're pretty well bolstered, very padded down below, and it looks like a ton of legroom. Taking a step inside, I'm a little bit over 6 feet tall, sitting behind my seat settings, and I still have 4 or 5 inches of overall knee room, headroom. Got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches, because Honda cuts out a little bit of this roof line to make it a little bit more comfortable for the taller passengers. We don't get a mat pocket behind the driver's seat, but we do get one behind the passenger seat. One complaint that I have to bring up: we don't get air vents that blow directly into your face. We do get something underneath the front seats, but nothing that blows in our face. And for a top touring trim, that's just about unacceptable. I understand that Honda does it because they need to incentivize customers to go pay more for the Accord, so they let off the air vents here and bring them along for the more expensive, slightly larger Accord, which in that sense I understand, but compared to all the competition with their top trims, this is probably one of the only vehicles without air vents in their top touring trim. The interior lights back here though, we can check them out. LED just like up front. We get a hook for the driver's side grab handle, no hook on the passenger side. The center cubby armrest, we can poke it out. There's no string, but it's very soft. 2 cup holders. You'll fit a 12-ounce water bottle here and a 16 to 24-ounce water bottle right next to it. And I really like the premium contrast stitching. Was not expecting that with a vehicle in this price point. That's about it though, guys, for the back seat of the 2024 Civic. Definitely one of the most spacious in the segment. For a top trim, those air vents got to get included, at least for 2025. The cargo space underneath this Honda badge, we have a slight chute for the trunk. Hopefully you picked it up on camera. That's a premium touch as well. It doesn't close electrically, but of course wouldn't be expected at this price point. The opening is massive. This floor is low, which allows you to put even larger boxes back here. Unfortunately, the rear seats, they don't fall down flushly with the cargo cutouts, but it's just about close enough. You'll still fit probably a 50 to 55 inch TV through there. You'll probably still fit a 50 inch this way horizontally just in this trunk. That's how large this opening is. You'll fit 2 or 3 golf bags with these massive wheel well cutouts. Fold the rear seats down. As you see, 60-40 split. The third brake light is also LED. You can pick it up a little bit easier right here from this view. We can shut this trunk right down, walk around this 2024 Civic Touring 1.5 Turbo one more time. It's a beautiful vehicle. I was a big fan of the SI we reviewed for 2024, but with the manual transmission, I understand that the SI really limits its market. The fact that Honda offers this touring trim with nicer materials than the SI, basically the exact same power plant just without the 6-speed manual, probably brings a lot more customers to the table. Performance-wise, let's take this 2024 Honda Civic 1.5 Turbo Touring out for a drive and see what it's got. All right, guys, now we're just about seeing everything we need to see with the inside and outside of the all-new 2024 Honda Civic Touring 1.5 Turbo. Let's take it out for a drive and see what it's got. My first impression, though, the throttle response, even though it's a turbo 4-cylinder, it feels really good. Doesn't feel any worse than the 2-liter. And I'm sure as we lean into the throttle more, it'll feel a lot stronger, both with this torque curve and overall stronger power plant. The brakes feel great, the steering feels super sharp and direct, great weight to it, not too much weight, not too light. Taking a step out here, looks like a good opportunity to try one out off the line. Nobody's behind us. Brakes again, feel great, just normal. We're not gonna throw into sport yet, but on the gas. Good response, boost. And it pulls all the way to the red line. Of course, it's not blowing you away, but it's a significant upgrade compared to the 2-liter naturally aspirated. Driving over the manhole covers, ride quality is fantastic. For a compact sedan, not in the luxury segment, I think the new Civic is probably the best one available. But to be fair, it's also probably the most expensive one available, at least for the entry-level trims. For this touring trim, the $30,000 base price point is a very friendly price for the level of vehicle that we get. The $24,000-25,000 for the base LX, that's where I would say it's a little bit more on the overpriced side of things. All right, guys, taking a step out here, we can lean into it about halfway. Ooh, good torque. Not bad. And with the turbocharged power plant, I know that I always say how I'm not the biggest fan of CVTs, but with turbos, CVTs work a lot better because CVTs in general, they take longer to rev out, which sucks for naturally aspirated engines because naturally aspirated engines make more power with more revs. That's not necessarily the case with turbo engines. Turbo engines, especially this one, the torque curve starts at around 1500 RPM. So although it revs out slower, it keeps you in that torque curve longer, which makes this vehicle feel both more powerful and more consistent with its power delivery, which is not something you would get from a 4-cylinder with a CVT. We can try out a real-world turning radius, see how sharp it is. Looks pretty sharp coming out. We'll give this guy a little bit of space so he can come in a little hot for that twisty, and I'll catch right back with you. All right, guys, trying it out in sport mode, off the line, on the gas, sharper response. A little bit more of a pronounced induction note, brakes feel good, steering feels really good, throttle response is a lot more sensitive. And you can hear a slight blow off too once you let off of that accelerator pedal. The steering at even higher speeds feels great. Sharp, direct. Honda has done a great job with their steering racks, at least recently. They used to feel overly light. They definitely do not feel overly light anymore. In sport mode, a little bit too aggressive for daily driving. It keeps us at around 2,500, 3,000 at all times, which for, I guess, spirited driving is great, especially with this turbo, keeping you in that beef of the power plant even longer. But for just comfortable daily cruising, I'd probably just leave it in normal mode. We'll try it out in eco mode. Give this guy in front of us a little bit of distance. Eco mode, see what changes up. About half throttle. A lot less sensitive, but it still gets up and goes really well. And because of that, I'd recommend leaving it in eco mode for daily driving. Normal mode is fine. Normal mode steering is lighter than sport, but eco lets you keep normal mode steering, but it just makes the throttle a little bit less sensitive. But with this turbo though, even though it's less sensitive, see, we're only at 2,000 RPM, but that's enough. We still get that torque curve with this turbo that we just would not get with the regular 2-liter naturally aspirated power plant. All right, guys, taking a step out here, we can open her up a little bit in eco mode. Good response, puts the power down. Woo! And it is really quick. The advanced safety features like to definitely keep you on your toes here, but as you saw, we got to highway speeds with no problem. And now at highway speed, these Goodyear Eagle Sport tires do a great job of limiting the road noise, and although we only have single pane windows, it's very quiet in here. I wouldn't call it a silent ride, but compared to just the regular economy compact sedan class, it's one of the best rides, some of the best isolation from the road that you can possibly imagine. The brakes feel great, real world turning radius, body roll doesn't exist, and come back out. Woo! At about half throttle, we get to highway speed quickly. And again, highway speed, tiny hint of wind noise and a tiny hint of road noise. Other than that, this is top-notch premium from an isolation perspective, top-notch premium from a ride quality perspective, and we're shaving a second and a half to 2 seconds off the 0 to 60 compared to the 2-liter trims that are only a couple $1,000s cheaper. Now, for an extra couple $1,000 you get this 1.5-liter turbo, leather seats, upgraded audio system. So for $32,000 after destination, before taxes and fees, this is a ton of car for the money. Of course, still check out the competition. But if you're looking for a top-notch premium vehicle with an upgraded sound system, upgraded engine, premium top-notch materials all throughout the interior with good isolation from the road, not just from a ride quality perspective, but from a noise isolation perspective too. If that's what you're looking for, guys, I would 100% recommend checking out the 2024 Honda Civic. I always recommend checking out the Civic Si, but if you don't want the manual, this touring trim with the CVT will be a lifesaver for you while saving thousands of dollars compared to an Integra. And a big thanks to Samwise and Joe at Ocean Honda in Port Richey, Florida for helping make this review possible. I'll leave a link to your inventory below, and if you're looking for a new car, SUV, or truck in the Port Richey, Tampa area, I definitely recommend checking these guys out and ask for Joe or Samwise. And huge thanks to all you guys for watching. I had a great time making this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much. You guys know the channel is just not possible without you, and I really appreciate the constant support. But again, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Leave a like too. It really helps me out the YouTube algorithm. That's how these videos get promoted to new people. Leave a comment. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. Leave a comment. Let me know if there's any specific cars, SUVs, or trucks you want to see reviewed on this channel, and I'll definitely try getting those videos for you ASAP. But other than that, again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope all of you have a great day.